Right, this is our issue for tonight, and if you have something to write, because this is what we're going to be discussing in detail, and we're going to make sure you understand some of those things that the Sheikh had mentioned in more appropriate and more clarifying. I'm not taking my own words, I'm Sheikh Al-Albani, I'm just taking his words and I'm adding the words of the Sheikhs from other books and from other talks that we had listened to, and we need to put that together and make a very strong case regarding this issue. First of all, this issue putting the right on the left after the Rukoo, it is being championed now is only by the ones from Ahl Hijaz. And from Ahl Hijaz, people stamped in here and had looting. You could find some people putting their hand on the right and the left. And I could see that this issue as well is that if the person is not knowledgeable, he might adapt this issue. So that's why I need to address it to know whether it's right or wrong. Sheikh Al-Albani uses a strong word here. He said bid'ah. It's innovation. He does not hesitate to say it's a bid'ah to put the right on the left. Now some people would say, I've read the book, which is the book to do with, that is the khushu', making khushu' by putting the right on the left after Rukoo. I don't need to listen to Sheikh Al-Albani. If the person says that is up to him, you want to learn or not to learn, it's up to him. We can't really force anybody. لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُسَيْطِرٍ. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He called us that we are du'a. We are not ru'ah. We're not going to be beating you up if you don't listen. But please, you have your brain, your intellect. Don't rent this to blind following. Don't hire it. Do you understand me? It's got little levels. You have all this level 1, 2, economic floors. All these floors being occupied by those thoughts. Please have the guts and the courage to discuss everything according to the Sunnah. And let's see whether that what the Sheikh Al-Albani said is right or wrong. And by the way, Sheikh Al-Albani is on his own. He's talking all the scholars. Even Imam Ahmad, which we're going to see inshallah. Even Imam Ahmad. So what is that issue that had made that some of the respected scholars to adapt the right on the left on the right on the. So when we say it's a bid'ah, we don't say that the person who's doing it is a mubtada'. You understand that? Because he's depending upon what he believes is a proof. For me, it's a bid'ah. But for him, if he leads me in the prayer and I believe that he's a respected student of knowledge, I will put my right on the left. Like I would expect the person who is putting his right on the left to respect his imam, which is the imam of this masjid, Abdul Khalid. He does not put his right on his left. Do you understand that? So you have respect as well to that imam, not to put your right on the left. Because imagine, he is the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, and he can't be the Prophet of course, but he is a representative of the Prophet of Allah. So, do you believe that the person who is leading you in the prayer is upon haqq or upon batil? If you believe that he's on a batil, and you believe that he thinks that he's on a batil, your prayer is invalid. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you believe he's on batil, but in the other case that you believe that he believes himself he's on batil, your prayer is invalid. For example, if a Shafi'i is praying behind a person who's Hanafi, Shafi'i follow, praying behind what? A Hanafi follow. The Shafi'i believes that if the person is touching a woman, just touching, he had invalidated his wudu. So this Shafi'i now, he sees this Hanafi imam kisses his wife or touched his wife, and he's going to lead him in the prayer. Can you brother, come here forward, come closer brothers, and the one in the back, why are you sitting in the back? Get out, closer, because it's very important to sit close inshallah. The brother in the back, don't make the shaitan vulnerable to you. Come here. Be like, the customers of this class, we're always together. So, if this Shafi'i had seen this Imam Hanafi touch his wife, if he believes that this is invalid, which is invalid for him, and he believes that this Imam of his believe this will invalidate his wudu, then he cannot pray behind him. So how can he pray this Shafi'i behind the Hanafi? In one way. That he believes he's wrong, but he believes that Imam, he believes what he's doing is not wrong, is right. That's why he prays behind him. He prays behind this Hanafi because he believes this Hanafi man, he believes that touching the woman is what? Does not invalidate the wudu, which is correct. Which is the correct opinion. But regardless. So he has to believe that this Shafi'i, this Hanafi Imam, when he touched his wife in his madhab, it is what? It does not invalidate his wudu. Because if he believes in it, he cannot pray behind him. Now let's say for example, you have seen your Imam now, okay? passes wind. Well, whether you're Shafi'i, Hanabi, Hanbali, and he had seen himself passing wind. And he heard his passing. Would you pray behind him? I'm asking. Would you pray behind him? No. Brother, you pass wind. So what? I'll lead you in the prayer. Would you pray behind him? If you pray behind him, your prayer is invalid. Why? Because we have a consensus. There's no such thing that you go to pass wind and you lead us in the prayer. You have to make wudu. So this is consensus. So I'm asking now, if it is the case, I have already believed that this Imam believes his prayer is correct, then I have to be with the Imam. I believe that the Imam is correct when he put his right on the left on the side, like that. After the Rukoo, I have to do like him. I cannot be different from him. When the Prophet of Allah said, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ, when the Imam is being made to be followed, don't you ever think it's just only the takbir, and in the Rukoo, and in the sujood. No! You follow him even if he made a mistake. Shall I prove it to you? Okay. This Imam, in the middle tashahhud, he did not sit down. He stood up in the middle of the tashahhud. Did he make a mistake or not? He's already up. Allahu Akbar, but you can't say Allah, Subhanallah, you can't say Subhanallah because you're already what? He's up. Do you follow him? You say, sit down, sorry, Imam, I'm not to make the tashahhud because you're wrong. What do? I'm asking. Do you follow me? Just make the tashahhud, regardless of what you follow. He's wrong or he's right? He's wrong. He made a mistake. But you follow him. So if you follow him in something wrong, which he himself believes is wrong, but he can't now get down because he's already up. You don't believe him in something, you don't follow him in something which he believes is right. Do you understand the logic? He believes that putting the right and the left like this. So you have to believe that even though he believes it right, I believe it wrong, I have to follow him. I have to put my hand like this. And if my Imam put my hand right on the left after Rukoo like this, I will put my right on the left like this. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah says, bid'ah, I used to pray for 2 years behind Shaykh ibn Baz rahimahullah in the Jami'ah, and he's the leader of the Shaykh, and then Shaykh ibn Baz puts the right on the left like that. What does Shaykh al-Albani do? He puts the right on the left like that. And he says, bid'ah, because he believes that this Imam is a great Imam, and he is a student of knowledge, and he's a scholar, and he believes this is right, so I have to follow him, even though I'm not right. What did Abdullah ibn Mas'ud do behind Uthman ibn Affan when he prayed in Mina after the Hajj, which is in Mina, the Hajj days? What did the Prophet of Allah usually pray? 2. What Umar he prayed? Abu Bakr prayed? 2. What Umar did he pray? 2. Uthman he prayed what? 4. Did Uthman say, sorry, bye-bye, the 2? Salaam alaikum, salaam alaikum. Did he do that? He followed him. Why did he follow him? Because he believed he's wrong, but he believes also that the Imam believes what he's doing is what? Is right. That's what it is. That's why he followed him. Now, which is more of something which is a more bigger issue? To follow him when he was making the wrong thing by standing up in the tashahhud, and follow him in making extra 2 rak'ah, or in following him in putting the right on the left after the ruk'ah? Which is more bigger issue? Is it this one or the other one? It's the other one, isn't it? It's a bigger issue to follow him when he made a mistake and he stood up instead of making tashahhud. It's a bigger issue to follow him when he made 2 extra rak'ah. The top. He made 2 extra. It's more issue. They followed him. So in this small issue, don't follow him. I feel this person does this behind this Imam, either one of the 2. Ignorant or a person wants to show off. One of the 2. He wants to show off. Basically, he wants to show that I am different from everybody. And can't he just know that when he does this, that he's spreading his cancer between the people? People, when they're ignorant, they say, oh, he's got a long beard, he's doing this, let me do this. If he saw a person doing like this, he will do like that, because he's got no knowledge. So you have to fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. When the Imam of yours do like this, you respect the Imam. All of us united. Imagine somebody comes to the masjid, and the Rukoo, Sami Allah liman, and the Rukoo, mashallah, is making a long stand. And you look at the row, mashallah, one is doing this, another one is doing like this, another one doing this. Do you think they are united? Are they united? What is the prayer is all about? To unite the bodies in order to unite the what? The hearts. So if one doing like this, and one doing like this, and one doing like this, one doing like this, that means the hearts are not together. Definitely they're not together. And that is why it's important to address this issue. Now we haven't tackled, which is correct, remember, we're just talking about now, this is behind the Imam issue. Let's now talk about the principle of the bid'ah. Al-Imam Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Imam al-Shatibi rahimahullah, In his book Al-I'tisam, and Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah in his Fatawa and other books as well, they have mentioned the following principle which we need to adhere to. And the principle, it says as follows. That is, Al-Amal bin-Nass al-Am, to act upon a general text in its particular issue where there is no implementation of that particular issue from the Salaf, it's a bid'ah. I'm going to give. Depending upon the general nusus, general text, and there's a particular issue in that general text, you are implementing that particular text. Well, that means you are extracting from that general text something particular from there, and the Salaf did not implement that particular extraction that you have a right to, then your extraction is wrong, is bid'ah. And I'll give you examples so it will settle into your mind, you understand what I'm talking about. If we depend, it's number one point, upon general texts to legalize particular things in ibadah, then we will open the gate in front of those making bid'ah. For verily every bid'ah, this is the second point, every bid'ah has a root. Never ever think that the person who makes bid'ah, he does not depend upon a text. No. So for example, you don't find a person in the prayer, he will bring, for example, a piece of wood and he starts sewing. Or a person while in the prayer, he'll bring a flute and he starts, because there is no place for it. But you'll find a person in the prayer putting the right and the left after Rukoo. You'll find a person after the prayer, he will start making dua. But you're not finding, for example, after the prayer, he will start, for example, a flute. Flute, why? Because there's no trace of it. So every bid'ah has to have a root in the Sharia. That's no doubt about that. We'll give you an example. Number one. So when we ask those people who are making the bid'ah, why are you doing this? They will give you general text. Example number one. We tell the people in my country, they make it at Salah al-Nabi after the Adhan. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, when the Muaddin says Allahu Akbar, you say what? No. You say, the La ilaha illallah, you what? Shal Hamd Rasul. Hayya ala salat, la hawla. Hayya ala salat, la hawla. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. When he finishes, then you say, that is, first of all, you pass salutation upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you ask for him the Maqam al-Mahmud. Allahumma rabbana bid-da'wat al-fadl. Okay, to the end. والصلاة القائم آتي محمد وسيلته وفضيلة to the end. Now they put the Salah ala Nabi in our country after the Adhan. When they make the Adhan, they put Sallallahu, after they say La ilaha illallah, they say wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Go to the region, Egypt, Jordan, bid'ah spreading with them. They started with Egypt, came to Jordan. So after the Adhan, what do? Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Anybody knows about this fact or not? You've seen it? You heard it? In Pakistan as well. Oh, you got the bid'ah one recently? Okay, it's recent for me. In Somalia as well. Okay. No, you ask them, ya akhi, what are you doing? They will say to you what? Ya akhi, what are you saying? Allah says in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse number 56, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu, what do they do? Yusalluna ala al-Nabi, fasallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Ya akhi, it's a general text, ya akhi. Allah says that Allah himself and the angels are passing salutation upon his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah's salutation, of course, to mention him in the Mala'il A'la, in the highest companion, the highest inhabitants of the heavens, which is in the front of the angels. And angels are invoking forgiveness for the Prophet of Allah, invoking salah, salutation. So, oh, you who believe, pass salutation. So this is general text. Oh, you who believe what? Pass. Listen to me, brothers. Pass salutation. So this Mubtada' is telling you, I've got a text here. Not only that, I've got the hadith of the Prophet of Allah just mentioned you. He said, if you hear the Muaddin say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Then after the adhan is finished, you say, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, pass salutation upon the Prophet of Allah and ask for me the wasila. True or not? He's got two texts. What are you going to say to him? What is your answer to him to tell him what you're wrong, what you're doing is wrong? You tell me. First of all, you don't have, that's number 2 one. You don't have a text that the Prophet of Allah prohibited such an action. Do you have? No way. There is not a single hadith in the Sunnah of the Prophet of Allah which we say it is haram, it is forbidden to say that. There's no prohibition. That's number 1. There's number 2, which is more delicate. This is where you have to understand it. There is no text that it says the Prophet of Allah did not do it. Listen to me. There is no text. Write down, Ya Abdul Qadir. That is, there is no text to say that the Prophet of Allah did not what? Do it. So what is our proof? He did not. Lam yarid. Means lam yarid. What is? We don't have a proof it has been done. Do you understand that? That's our proof. We don't have a proof to say Prophet of Allah did not do it. But we say to them, give me a proof that the Prophet of Allah did it. Do you understand that? So 2 things are very important in any issue regarding this bid'ah. And I'll give you more examples, you understand how we're going to tackle it. Right. We have the hadith of the Prophet of Allah. Man salla alayya marra faqat sallallahu alayhi ashar. Who the Prophet of Allah had passed salutation upon me once, Allah will pass salutation upon him 10 times. How are you going to argue with these people when they put the salutation of the Prophet of Allah after everything? After everything. How are you going to tell them? You're going to say, have the Salaf done it? Have they done it? We don't have a text to say the Salaf prohibited doing it or the Salaf did not do it. We have they prove to me they've done it. We don't have a text to say the Salaf did not do this. But it did not narrate to us. We should call it as-Sunnah at-Tarkiyah. Second example. Person before Dhuhr. He came here. Come on brothers, let's make Sunnah Dhuhr together. Jama'ah. Now it's strange for you, isn't it? Some people might join, some people say, hey, bid'ah. Say, why is it bid'ah? Why are you saying bid'ah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Yeah. Bow with the ones who bows. That means getting jama'ah. Prophet of Allah, he said, Yadullahi ma'al jama'ah. Allah's power, Allah's hand is with the jama'ah. Blessings is with the jama'ah. Also the Prophet of Allah, he said, the prayer of the 2 better than the prayer of the 1, and the prayer of the 3 better than the prayer of the 2. How are you going to face this? What are you going to say to him? What are you going to say to him? There is no text to say it. Prophet of Allah said, don't pray Sunnah before together. There is no such thing. And there is no other text to say, Prophet of Allah did not do the Sunnah of the Dhuhr before together. There is nothing. But we say, we did not have any narration that the Prophet or the companions had done it. That's how we're going to tackle it. Otherwise, what are we doing? Third example. Third example is when the people make this after the prayer of a fard. How are you going to say to those people in some of the masajid that this is a bid'ah? How? Today I've been asked a question by somebody from Australia. This is to do with this. He says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I deleted his message. I wish I did not delete his message. I wish I did not delete his message. Because he kept insisting. He said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he commanded us to make dua. I said to him, no, not just Allah, Prophet of Allah, Allah Azza wa Jalla, he commanded us to make dua. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Your Lord said to you, what? Call upon me and I will what? Respond. And he said, and we don't have a prohibition from the Prophet of Allah to make that dua at a specific time. Why is it not allowed for us to make dua after the obligatory prayer? You tell me now. He said, after I've finished my dhikr, I want to make dua. Do you understand that? So how are you going to answer him? He said to you already, there is no text to say that the Prophet of Allah forbade doing this. How are you going to mention that it's bid'ah? If you say this is bid'ah, then your rukoo after rukoo is a bid'ah. Because it's the same argument. How are you going to say it's a bid'ah? You're going to say to him, first of all, you can't say to him, there's a hadith says that the Prophet of Allah did not make dua after that prayer. There's no such thing. The Holy Thing is saying that, yes, you could make dua if you need it. For example, something had happened, you remembered, you make dua. But to do it all the time after every obligatory prayer, or most of obligatory prayer, you need a proof. from that general statement that the implementation, that istinbat of yours, that extraction of that is to be implemented by the Prophet or the companions. Where is it? And we know that the Prophet of Allah had prayed how many times? Thousands of times. And the prayer of the Prophet of Allah is openly or hiddenly? I'm asking. Not just normal openly. He was the Imam. The Imam. That means everybody can see him. It's not like amongst the people. Right. So after this, we're going to say to you, let's go to the, let me as well add a hadith. The Prophet of Allah said, إِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ حَيِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. Allah, your Lord, is shy, hayi, modest, hayi, shy, and kareem, and generous. قال, he says, يستحي من عبده, is shy from his slave. When he, إذا رفع يديه إليه, if he raises up his hand to him, أن يردهما صفرا, to return them empty. He's always going to be what? Answering you. That mubtadi' can use this to say, you see, I'm raising my upper hand. Why you say it's bid'ah? Why? General statement. How can we refute? First of all, what is the hujjah of those people who say you put the right on the left after the rukoo? What is their hujjah? Two general statements. First general statement, Hadith Sahl ibn Sa'd al-Sa'idi. This hadith is in Muwatta Imam Malik. كان الناس يؤمرون بوضع اليمين أو اليمنى على اليسرى في الصلاة. That's the first one. That the people used to be commanded to put the right on the left في الصلاة, in the prayer. That's number one. We're going to discuss it. So they say in the salah, that means in the qiyam. Why is that? You look at the discussion of Shaykh ibn Uthaymin. He arrives at the conclusion. Istinbat. So when he says in the salah, to put the right on the left, we know, he says, that in the rukoo, we put the right on the right knee, the left on the left knee. In the first qiyam, we put the what? The right on the left. First qiyam. When we go to the sajda, we put the right on the left where? On the floor. Torn up. So then the only place where it is not mentioned that you put the right on the left is where? After the what? The rukoo. That's his istinbat, extraction. So that is why if we're going to apply this hadith for salah, we find that the only position beside the position of the right and the left and the first, which is near Fatiha, is after the rukoo. Because the Prophet of Allah used to put the right on the left in the what? Salah. So extracted from that istinbat that after that Sami Allahu liman hamida, okay, that is in that place it was not mentioned anything to put, that means it must be what? The right and the left as well there. Because in the sujood we put them on the floor, in the rukoo we put them on our knees. That's the first proof. Second proof. We're gonna, inshallah, نقضوا عليه بعد شوي. Second proof. Hadith Wa'il ibn Hujr, that the Prophet ﷺ قال كان يضع في القيام. He used to put his hands in the qiyam. Qiyam means standing up. Okay. I'm going to take the second and I go to the first. You need to be patient. You need to be patient. Second one, في القيام. Wa'il ibn Hujr, according to the muhaddithin, that this hadith is being taken from the hadith which is longer than all. And this is hadith mentioned, number one in Sahih Imam Muslim, and more is mentioned in Sunan Abi Dawood. I'm going to quote that hadith as well. Hadith. Sunan Abi Dawood, he says, لأنظرن إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كيف يصلي. He said, I'm going to look at the Prophet of Allah, how he used to pray. So I looked at him, حين قام فكبر ورفع يديه. When he stood up to do the prayer, he said takbir and he raised up his hand. حتى حادتا أذنيه, until it reached the level of his ears. ثم وضع يده اليمنى على ظهر كفه اليسرى والرسغ والساعد. And then he put his right on the left where his hand will touch his forearms and his wrist, like that. ثم لما أراد أن يركع, listen, when he wanted to bow, رفع يديه مثلها. When he wanted to go to Rukoo, he raised up his hand مثلها, like it. Like it, like what? Like the takbirat al-ihram. مثلها. That means until it reached the level of his ears. قال ثم ركع. Then he went to the Rukoo. فوضع يديه على ركبتيه. He put his hands on his knees. Okay? ثم رفع رأسه. Watch now. Then he lifted up his head. فرفع يديه مثلها. So when he reached, this is like this. He raised up his hand like it. Like it what? Like the الإحرام. ثم سجد. Then he prostrated. I'm going to stop here. Then the expression of the sujood, he put his hands in parallel to his ears as well when he made sujood. That's the description of sujood. What have you noticed here? Shaykh al-Albani, look. So this is now the hadith of Walid ibn Hujr. Look at the hadith carefully. When the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, he made the takbirat al-ihram, and he described it how, then he put the right on the left. Then he remade Rukoo. Prophet of Allah, he said, he had made his hands up, مثلها, like what? Like takbirat al-ihram. Then he went to his Rukoo, he put the right on the left, put the right on the right knee, left on the left, on his knees. Then he lifted his head. Then he raised up his hand, what? Like it. What have you noticed here? If he did put the right on the left, would he say, and he would put the right on the left, mitla, like it. So he mentioned the raising of the hands 3 times. Raising of the hands, like it. And he will mention it later on, like it. But when he came after the Rukoo, he did not say, and he put the right on the left, like it, like the one which is what? In the first qiyam. Going now to the first hadith, which is Hadith Sa'd ibn Sa'd al-Sa'idi. Hadith Sa'd, he says that the Prophet of Allah used to put the right on the left in the prayer. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen extracted that the only position where the Prophet of Allah, he did not have any position to put his hands is after the Rukoo, the right on the left. We say it's wrong. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, he says, according to what is knowledge in the hadith, which is unbeatable, between the 2 sajda, you know the 2 sajda? There's not a single scholar of hadith, he said, where to put the hands. I'm asking, you know. Do you understand me? I'm asking you. If he did not where to put the hands, according to the analogy of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, you should put that on the left where? Between the sajda as well. But does he do that? None of them do that. Because the Prophet said, he will put the right on the left in the salah, just like that. He extracted because in the Rukoo, right on the left on the knees. In the sajda, well, right on the left on the floor. Between the 2 sajda, Shaykh, come on Salafis, answer the question. You have to answer the question. Where? How? So according to your analogy, it has to be what? On the chest. So what is their answer for this? He said, no. Between the 2 sajda, we treat it like the jalsa, the shahwat. They used analogies. Subhanallah. And you know that there is not a single hadith to say where the Prophet of Allah put his right and his left where. What is our proof? It's the same proof that we used it for after the Rukoo, which is the Muslims from the beginning until the end, that they used to put the right on the left where? On their thighs, between the sajda. Between the 2 sajda, the companions with the what? There is not a single from the Prophet of Allah, there is a single hadith. There is a single hadith from the companion, there is a single hadith. But there is from the what? The followers of the followers. They put the right on the left where? None of them came to say, no, the hadith of Sa'd ibn Sa'd al-Sa'idi is well for salah, you put the right on the left as well between the 2 sajda. Hasn't happened at all. Now coming back more and more regarding this issue. Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says in the hadith which is rawahu Muslim, كان إذا جلس في الصلاة أشار بأصبعه. Whenever he sits in the prayer, he will point with his finger. Do you understand the hadith? Okay. Somebody had implemented this hadith where? Between the sajda. That Between the sajda, he put his hands what? Like this. The hadith is general. كان الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا جلس في الصلاة, sat down, he would point with what? With his finger. Some of those people implemented that. Between the sajda, they put their finger. Why? General. Did the salaf do it? I'm asking now, why don't you implement it then in Jalsat al-Istiraha? I've never seen anybody that negate it. You know Jalsat al-Istiraha? Before you get up to the second rak'ah, or before you get up to the fourth rak'ah, I haven't seen anybody who do quick one and then get up. A quick one. Have you seen anybody? But you've seen between the sajda, isn't it? So challenge them with this. What about the sajda? Jalsat al-Istiraha. It's a jalsa as well. Jalsa al-Istiraha. Sitting for the rest. So why did you do it? Think. So this is using the general statement in specific things which the Salaf did not do. Right. So let's go now to the line attack. How many times the Prophet of Allah prayed this prayer? 20 years. Yes, it was implemented in the last 11 years when he made the Isra and Mi'raj. But he was praying before that. You know that the Prophet was praying before the prayer was compulsory upon him. Did you understand that? Do you think the Prophet on his prayer as well? Is a prayer. He used to go to the Haram. Before the prayer was implemented, he used to go to the Haram and do the prayer. Abu Bakr used to do the prayer. This is before Isra and Mi'raj. Before it became one compulsory. He used to pray. The prayer. 20 years. How many companions had narrated the prayer of the Prophet of Allah? Well above the 20. Well above the 20. 20. Where did the Prophet of Allah pray his prayer? Most of it outside or inside? Outside. People what? They see him and watch him. We see that there's not a single companion from this 20 years of praying, and not of this single companion from more than 20 had seen and narrated to us that the Prophet of Allah, after he lifted up from the Rukoo, he put the right on the left. This is not just double bid'ah, 100 bid'ah this is bid'ah emphasized to the power 100. So many companions narrated and described the Prophet of Allah's prayer bit by bit. None of them had mentioned specifically to that istinbat, extraction of yours after the Rukoo. Because this sunnah, if it was done, la nuqilat. It would be what? Narrated to us. That's a principle. لو فعلها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لنقلت. It will be conveyed to us because the Prophet used to do it openly in front of everybody. That is why. Okay, so if we're gonna implement the umum or the generality of this text, we will implement the right on the left between the two sajda as we have said. After this, I would like to ask if anybody has been doing the right on the left to tell me if anything that I need to address it before I finish up this issue. Anybody who put the right on the left, put your finger up. Don't be worried. There's one here. That's one. Number two. Right on the left, that's the Rukoo. Third one. No. I'm just saying who's done it. After this, I want to know what is your argument. Tell me. If you have anything that you want to ask me, tell me about it. Tell me. How can we Salafis, we are Salafis, aren't we? But the Salaf manhaj can refute Ahl Bid'ah with general text, those Bid'ah, all of them built upon general text. All of them. As I said, there is not a single Bid'ah except it has a trace from a general statement. What is a Bid'ah? Why these Muqtadi'ah, they say, for example, Sufi, they say, what do they say? Allah, 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 Allah. You think there's no trace of it? There's a hadith here. Prophet of Allah, he said, لا تقوم الساعة حتى لا يقال في الأرض الله الله. يلا. The hour will not take place until there will be no one on the earth saying Allah, Allah. This is the hadith. Sahih Muslim. So the Sufi will say to you, brother, why are you telling me off from saying Allah, Allah? It's a clear hadith in Sahih Muslim. That the hour will not take place until people leave the deen and they don't say Allah, Allah. So that's why we say Allah, Allah. So the hour will not take place. True or not, ya akhi? Ya akhi, it's clear hadith, ya akhi. Why clear in general? General clear hadith. What is the response to this? You would say to him, for example, oh, well, there is another narration which says as well that until there will be no la ilaha illallah. That this is the interpretation of Allah. But still you're weak. Weak argument. Okay, people say la ilaha illallah and I say Allah. Same thing. He's still strong. What are you going to do to him? You Salafi, what are you going to answer him? Lam yarid. Companions did not do it. Prophet did not do it. Your extraction, your istinbat, your analogy from this to say that say Allah, it hasn't been mentioned, it hasn't been narrated to us that the Prophet of Allah used to say Allah, companions say Allah. That's how. Otherwise he's gonna refute you with the same argument of yours. This is كان الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يضع اليمنى على اليسرى في الصلاة. But Allah used to put the right and the left in the salah. Generally. 20, more than 20 companions. More than 20. About 23, 24, 25. Narrates a hadith. 20 years. None of them can convey that bit. Then the last thing. Shaykh al-Islam wa Imam al-Sunnah, Imam Ahmad. Imam Ahmad, he was asked, and this is authentic, according to the Tuwajri, he says, he was asked about putting the right on the left. Is that okay? He said, Man sha'a falyaf'al wa man sha'a falyatruk. If he wants to do it, let him do it. If he doesn't want to do it, let him what? Not do it. Shaykh al-Albani is asking, Miskeen ya akhi, wallah you are miskeen. If this is the Sunnah, after the Rukoo, would the Imam say, if you wish to leave it, if you wish to do it? I'm asking. If he was asked Imam Ahmad regarding the first Qiyam, oh Imam Ahmad, what about if I want to put my right on the left, when I'm reading the Fatiha? Would you say to him, oh, if you wish to leave, if you want to, will you do that? He said, no, you have to put the right on the left. So why did he say after the Rukoo he wished to leave it? Because it wasn't established yet to him. It was not established with a proof. It's a ijtihad. Do you understand that? So it's weak. It's not really the proper, because the proper sunnah, then I'm not allowed, because they, the ones who say like this on the left, they say I'm wrong. And then they make a istinbat. You see, if you see somebody next to the grave, and he was putting like this, his hand, and he was praying, you will not realize he's praying. Do you understand? If you see somebody next to the grave, and he was praying, but he was after the Sami Allah liman hamid, and he's prolonging it. If you see him like that, you will not tell him off, because you think that he's not praying. But he was putting the right on the left, then it is what? Praying. Subhanallah. What istinbat is this? Weak istinbat. I just quoted the two strong ones of them. Two hadith. The other issues are really weak. So if he was sitting down, and between the two sajda, he was sitting down. Does he look like prayer? Like yoga. He's doing yoga. A very weak argument. You could really refute that argument simply. He's making yoga. Hymns. Or he's sitting down, maybe he's talking to the grave, but he's not doing the prayer for the long as well. So you can't, this can be easily demolished. So we want always, if there is a specific thing in that general hadith, that's why Shaykh al-Albani, in every single particular issue in the prayer, he brings you the hadith of the Prophet of Allah. No istinbat. That's why he did not bring you anything when we come to do between the two sajda, he'll tell you. There's nothing there from the Prophet of Allah, what the Prophet of Allah did between the two sajda. So how will we put the right on the left like this? Why will we put the right on the right thigh, the left thigh? Why? Because this is the Imams of the Sunnah used to do like this. The followers of the followers of the followers used to do like this. So that is why it was like that. Because if it was something else, it would have been something else. None of them had said put the right on the left like this. Two sajda. None of these Imam of Ahlul Sunnah finally as well put the right on the left after the Rukoo. None of them, none of the Imams of the Sunnah. I'm saying, listen to me, Imam al-Sunnah, people of Salaf, none of them said to put the right on the left after the Rukoo. It's all of it is istinbat, extraction. Do you understand that? And after this, I'm just saying, using the argument, this argument of bringing it about because of specific scholar said, a specific scholar is not going to get us anywhere. You have yourself to sit down if you think, and listen and read. Which one do you think is the haqq? And after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best. But if you are behind the Imam, you're not allowed to do except what the Imam is doing. Unless what he's doing is not to do with the prayer. So if the Imam was, for example, reciting the Fatiha, he would do Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we're not going to follow him. Because there's no such proof to say that this is part of the ikhtilaf. Or if you were doing like this, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I'm not going to follow him. So if he's doing like this, I'm going to follow him. I'm going to follow the Imam. Because my Imam, he thinks correct. And it's part of the, ikhtilaf between the scholars. Right? Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Jazakallah.